For this lesson, we are working on our understanding of square roots, specifically how to find the domain. Now, remember, the domain is simply the possible values you could put into a problem. So the possible numbers we could input into the x value. Okay? Now, for this, the thing that's going to limit our domain is going to be those square root signs, right? Because if I have a problem, let's just put down a simple one here. X equals, right, y, right? X equals y, all right? For this, I could put any number in for x, and then I could say it's equal, it's true, right? I could put in 5. Well, if x is 5, then y will be 5, okay? If I have 2x equals y, okay? If I put in 2 for x, right? 2 times 2 is 4. So if x is 2, y is 4. I could put any number in, any rational number, and get an answer out. Okay? But for this, since we're dealing with square roots, the things we need to remember is, well, we can't take the square root of a negative number, right? Because no number times itself, no number multiplied by itself is a negative number. Okay, because a positive times a positive, well, that's going to be positive, and a negative times a negative is positive. So square roots, you can never take the square root of a negative number. So that's going to limit our domain. So how we do this is, it's actually pretty simple. Even when we have like this +1 or this +2, all we have to do is really focus on what is in here. Okay, because what we know is that whatever value ends up being inside, whatever expression is inside of our radical, it has to be at least 0 or positive, right? Because 0 times 0 is 0, so I can plug a 0 in there. But it has to be 0 or greater. So that's why each time we can set up the equation 0, or the inequality, 0 is less than or equal to whatever is inside of our radical. So it's x minus 5, okay? And so we can ignore that +1, because even no matter what this number is, once this happens, once we've gotten rid of our radical, as long as this is 0 or greater, then we're going to get a value, and we could add 1 to it, okay? So this does not have any bearing on the domain of our function, okay? It's completely, the square root is completely, and it's the only thing that is limiting our domain. So we just solve this inequality, okay? So we add 5 to both sides. We complete our inverse operation, getting us to, let's see, that'd be +5, less than or equal to x, okay? So 5 is less than or equal to x. And see, remember, the thing that limits the domain is whatever ends up in this expression must be 0 or higher. So let's test this. So the 5 is less than or equal to x. That means that the lowest number it could possibly be is 5. And let's see if this works. Alright, so if the lowest number is 5, well, 5 minus 5 is 0. Okay? So that makes that true. And then we said it could be any number that's greater than 5. So if I plugged in, even if it was 5.1, right, 5.1 minus 5 is 0.1. And you can find the square root of a positive number. Even, you might not see the square root of 0.1 right away, okay? You might not know it, but it does exist, okay? So the domain would equal, in this case, 5 is less than or equal to x. So x or x is greater than or equal to 5. Remember, you can write it, you could flip it, it could be this, okay? But that's our answer, that's our domain. Okay? The value, x, our domain, can be any number that is greater than or equal to 5. Okay? Over here, again, it's the same thing. This 2 doesn't really matter, okay? Because that's not going to change the values we could plug in for our domain. What's going to affect it is what is in this radical. So our square root of 2x minus 4, okay? Whatever this is, whatever it solves out to be, this has to be 0 or greater, okay? So we're going to do, it must be 0. All right, 0 is the lowest number that what is in here can be, and what is in here is 2x minus 4. Okay, so then we need to start doing inverse operations. We add 4 to both sides. We get 4 is less than or equal to 2x. Okay, we divide by 2. So we get x, we get 2 here. And remember, if this was negative, when we divide by a negative number, we flip the sign. If we divide by a positive number, the sign will stay the same. So the sign should stay the same. So it should be 2 is less than or equal to x, or x is greater than or equal to 2. And we can test this. Okay, so if 2 is the lowest number it can be, 2 times 2 is 4. Subtract 4 is 0. So we get 0 inside of there. And then if we go any higher, we start getting our positive values, and we can find the square roots of positive values. Okay? So that's how you find the domain of these square root functions. Right? Good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.